Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Tougies Take podcast. We are all here, Sin, Endo, myself, and today we are going to break down the Stanley Cup playoffs, which are set to begin tonight. We were able to get the fellas together a day early for the sake of recording this show because it had to be done, because you can't break down the playoffs once the action already starts. It's cheating. The Bruins are going to be up 1-0 on the Carolina Hurricanes by Tuesday morning. It's going to be a great time.
You're going to eat those words. Watch.
God, we'll talk about it. But yeah, hey, Endo, how you doing? How was your weekend?
My weekend was great. I found the luxuries of having a couch, and that's great. I talked about this before, and I'm like, guys, having a couch is great. They were like, yeah, I have a couch. And Sin's like, yeah, I have a couch. I didn't have a couch for 2 years since I moved to this new place. I just didn't. And having the first sleep on the new couch, perfectly amazing.
Yeah.
Sin, how are you doing today?
I'm tired, but overall pretty damn good. And I don't know if I'm making it to my open mic tonight. I've just been, it's a little bit of 2K10's fault, but also on top of that, I've been quite busy. A lot of casts, still trying to put out videos, work, and then been preparing, doing a lot of shit to get ready for the release of my single too. So it's like, damn, I need to go play live and promote my shit, but at the same time, man, I'm just tired.
Busy times for us all.
I've had a couch for 2 years. It's the best couch. Much better couch.
I had a good couch, and then the girlfriend's cat decided to use it as a scratching post.
Oh, yeah.
Should make that fucker pay rent. What a dick.
Cats are dicks,
Your girlfriend or the cat?
The cat.
Okay.
Jesus. Oh, well, with that, we will pretty much get down to business on today's show. Like I said, we are going to exclusively be talking about the Stanley Cup playoffs, with the exception of mentioning our lovely sponsor, of course, at Manscaped. You can use code Tougie at checkout for 20% off your order and free worldwide shipping when you use the code Tougie at manscaped.com. Get yourself some circular deodorant, shampoo, conditioner, every tool you need to shave your face, to take care of ear and nose hairs. Shave your sack. Do what you gotta do.
So high quality. Manscaped.
You didn't take it out of the tube this time, so we're making progress.
Oh, you know what?
For those not watching on the video portion.
Don't
Leave it in the tube. That's like liquid gold. It's not even a liquid. It's an in-between. How do you describe deodorant? Is it a liquid or a solid?
It's absolutely a solid.
But what if it melts?
But it's squishy. Fucking, you can say, is gold a solid?
Potentially.
But what if it melts?
Is this water bottle a solid?
What if it melts?
What if it melts, though?
But how many assists?
Code Tougie at checkout, manscaped.com. We thank them very, very much. Guys, first and foremost, how goddamn weird is it that the Stanley Cup playoffs are starting tonight?
Weird.
Yeah.
It's, kind of bizarre after the way the last couple of years have gone. I mean, this year's flown by, but, we've been also so used to, I don't know, just different. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. With
everything we've gone through with, the bubble and...
I'm so thrown off to what feels normal. That we technically had a normal season, even though I feel like the playoffs are starting later than they usually would. Now.
They are, yeah. Normally they would have started about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but which is why when I remember oh my god, it was almost 3 years to the day that San Jose did the thing against Vegas. I was like, you did that in the playoffs. Wait a sec, my math and yeah. So that's kind of how it's gone. But interesting, and I'm excited. There's so many things that have flown under the radar. That we've kind of talked about already, like Kachuk hitting 100 points, and who else? It was point per game. I was looking at this list of point per game players that no one fucking knows was point per game because there's so many interesting stories, and now I can't remember the name, but it was someone who had 82 points or something, and was just completely, I don't think you heard about him once this year. Now I can't remember the goddamn name, so this little segue is
Matt
useless.
Duchene.
No, we talked about Duchene.
Tougie to the rescue. Let's see, around 82 points. Sam Reinhart in Florida,
Yeah.
Tarasenko, Elias
Tarasenko
Lindholm,
was
Crosby, Gensel.
Yeah.
Philip Forsberg had 84 points in 69 games for Nashville. Victor Hedman was over point per game, as was Cale Makar as defenseman, but they were totally overshadowed by Roman Josi. Kevin Fiala had 85 points in 82 games.
Again, like, no one cares about Fiala. I mean, not all right. I don't mean it like that, but you know what I mean? Like, the media don't give a fuck.
Yep.
They weren't talking about Kevin Fiala.
Okay, here's the one thing I want to do. Top 10 in scoring in the NHL this season. You two get to work together. Name the top 10 scorers this season.
Overall scorers, not position.
Just overall.
Okay, well,
Point total.
McDavid,
Yes, who was number one, of course.
Draisaitl,
Yeah.
Yep. Draisaitl's fourth. Mitch Marner's 10th.
Yeah.
yeah, Matthews is going to be in there.
He was 6th.
Josi.
Roman Josi was 11th. He finished 1 point outside the top 10.
Oh, fuck you.
Stammer's in there.
Stamkos was 7th. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay.
The fact you haven't named 2 or 3 yet, and even 4, is stunning.
Huberdeau.
Yeah.
Huberdeau was 3rd.
Goudreau's there as well.
Goodrow was 2nd.
Yeah.
With
Goudreau
what
was
both
second.
of them had
What a year.
115 points. Technically, Huberdeau should be ahead of him. He did it in less games, but it's just how NHL.com ordered it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many am
So-
I missing?
You're missing 4, 5, 8, and 9.
Okay. Let's see. Enough.
All 4 of them.
Kaprizov. What the fuck? Of course.
Kirill
Right,
Kaprizov, number 5. Yes. Now all 3 remaining guys are on Western Conference teams.
Oh, good. I should know this, which means I don't.
You should.
But there's a stupid name there. There's a stupid name. Who's like you're thinking, yeah, he's there. JT Miller.
JT Miller is number 9.
Whoa!
Can't believe you got that.
Good shit.
That was the X factor. 99 points in 80 games for the Vancouver Canucks.
That's
for him.
impressive.
He's the
shit
ultimate,
team.
how the fuck were you that good and we never heard about you? And it's because
Right?
obviously Vancouver was on the outside looking
Yeah,
good all season
We're
long.
missing one more, right? At this point.
2?
Okay.
2.
Matthew Tkachuk.
Matthew Tkachuk was number 8,
Yeah.
and you're missing number 4. Western Conference, big name. I don't think either of you said him yet. If you did, I apologize.
Western Conference big name.
Tarasenko. No, you said that already.
Not Tarasenko.
No, he only had 82.
Fuck me, man. Fuck me.
Hold on.
Wait.
Western Conference.
Wait. What number?
Oh yeah.
Number 4.
No hints.
No, because you said Connor McDavid, and then you
Yeah,
said
and
Leon
Draisaitl.
Draisaitl.
Okay, so you did say Draisaitl, though.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Okay, I missed you saying Draisaitl.
Oh,
I had a
fuck you.
feeling you said him, but I wasn't sure. So there you go. You did get the top 10. Good work, but
Top 11.
yeah. Do you know who 12 was? He was tied with Yossi in points. Artemi Panarin. I'm shocked about the JT Miller one. Of all the ones that you look at, it's like, wow,
Yeah.
JT Miller was top 9 in scoring this season. Craziness.
He's gonna get
absolute
paid.
craziness.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Now the one, I think he has 1 year left on his deal,
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they didn't have anyone
and
else
that's
with 1 year.
maybe
because-
why they're trying to move him.
Oh, he
But
was gonna get
Sell
paid.
fucking high on JT Miller right now. Like you should sell high if you're Vancouver.
Yeah. Yeah, he has 1 year left at 5.25.
Sell
5.25.
high.
Holy.
Holy.
Oh, fortunately for JT Miller, this isn't a contract year. He'd get $9 million plus at this rate.
Yeah.
Good lord. The one thing I actually was going to do that we didn't, in terms of updated player awards, though, like we know that, Connor McDavid led the league in points, Matthews led it and got the Rocket Richard in goals. But I think in terms of like our updated predictions, they're probably all still the same, right? Like Roman Josi getting the Norris.
Yeah.
Shesterkin probably the
Which
best and the
weirdly-
favorite.
A lot of the analytics community disagree with Yossi, or at least Jay Fresh completely disagrees with Yossi getting the Norris, which is
You know
interesting.
what's funny
to
is
me.
I didn't see that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like for defensive purposes.
Yeah, I always considered. Granted, I haven't watched a lot of Nashville, but I always considered Yost to be pretty solid on defensive end of things. At least more so than what I think of Makar. But perhaps Makar's development has just been that good over the last couple of years. When I saw him mostly as a rookie, I guess, when we played against like the Sharks in the playoffs, and then that follow-up year, his defensive game, the potential was there, but it hadn't quite developed yet. I mean, fuck, if he's developed it, then maybe. And I don't know. I'm not keeping as close to tabs on Twitter, obviously, so I'm not seeing as much of the analytics stuff. But
And life is much better because of it.
Oh, yeah. Fucking hell, I wish I could get off Twitter, honestly.
God. Yeah, I'm looking at his info for Yossi, and it is that his defense isn't amazing. It's not god-awful. It's not like Tyson Barrie level when Barrie led all defensemen in points. What was it, last year or the year before?
Yeah.
So, in terms of the updated awards, I mean, it is the first show of the month. Normally we do that. I don't really see much of a need to do so. I think
It's
pretty
playoff
much...
time, baby. We don't care.
I don't know if anybody... I don't know if anybody made this like drastic push from April 1st to May 1st to really change much about
And we already kind of changed it. I was like all aboard for Yossi to get the Norris over Makar, but we'll see if that happens.
Fair enough. So let's start in the Western Conference. We're going to go series by series, kind of give our general thoughts and who we think will walk away as the winner of each individual matchup. We will start off the number 1 seeded Colorado Avalanche against the Nashville Predators. Colorado, probably the biggest favorite in any opening round matchup. I mean, obviously you're talking about a team that, again, bolstered by McKinnon, Rantanen, Nazem Kadri, all over a point per game this year. Andre Burakovsky had 60 points. Cale Makar was over a point a game as a defenseman. Devon Taves had 57 points in 66 games playing with Makar, which is insanity. Again, it was, 2 second-round picks they used to get him from the Islanders because the Islanders kind of ran out of cap space. It's a rough one. And then Darcy Kemper in goal, who rocked a .921 save percentage in 57 games. Against Nashville.
No UC Saros.
Now, that's the thing, right? We can sit here and hype up how good Philip Forsberg was. Matt Duchene, 86 points in 78 games with 43 goals. Best season of Matt Duchene's career. Roman Josi finished with 96 points in 80 games.
I really wanted him to get to 100, but just absurd.
And then you get to the goaltending. David Riddick, 17 games played with an .886 save percentage. Connor Ingram, 3 games played at the NHL level with an .879 because Juuse Saros is out, presumably for 4 to 6 weeks with that high ankle sprain.
It's going to take a miracle. Like, really, Ingram or Riddick's going to have to come in and play God tier. And then even when Saros comes back, if you had someone that did that, like, do you even go back to Saros if you have a goaltender playing hot? Like, Nashville's in such a fucked position. I can't see them getting out of this. Max they win is 1 game, honestly, against this Colorado team, unless Colorado completely shits the bed. But I don't see that happening. Like, without Saros, like, you're relying on a what if. We know Saros has a good chance to go on a run with the rest of that supporting cast. Hell yeah, but even with league average goaltending, Nashville doesn't win. But with what they have on numbers right there, they'd get blown out.
Colorado averaged 3.79 goals for per game. Nashville was over a 3 as well, but again, you're without UC Saros. Endo, how do you see this series going?
Short. 5 games at most. At most. They could maybe pull it to a 6, but I just don't think they're going to be able to do it without Saros. I just don't think so.
If this series goes 6 games, should the Predators win by default? It has to be said.
Pity points.
Pity. I mean,
put a banner.
I don't think they should. I think more or less Colorado loses if this goes to 6 games. I think that's how I would look at it. Like, Colorado loses. Like, you have to be able to beat this team, rest the fuck up, and hope like hell the next, like, Minnesota and the Blues beat the shit out of each other, which they likely should, because that's a tight-ass matchup. If you're Colorado, you need to finish this off in 4 or 5. Stay focused and rest up and study your next opponent.
Exactly. You nailed it. Colorado has no excuse to not make at least the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
You should take care of Nashville pretty quickly, and you should be able, I would say, in 6 games or so, finish off a Minnesota or St. Louis team that are going to go through a more difficult series than you are in round 1. Anything short of a Western Conference Finals appearance for Colorado is a complete disaster of a season.
Yep.
And a complete waste of their potential.
Absolutely.
So are we all going, say, Colorado in 5, maybe give Nashville a game at best? That's kind of what it seems like.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good consensus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Colorado in 5.
Nashville, if Saros was there, I think we'd be a little bit more positive. At the same time, though, for Nashville, it's been a pretty damn good season. We talked about them at the beginning of the year kind of in that Calgary role of what are you going to do, and you keep it together. I mean, even without the likes of, say, Victor Arvidsson now, and good things happen, but yeah, it's not looking pretty, but it is the playoffs. Anything can happen. It's just we have to go with what we think is most likely to happen. Which brings us to our second matchup, Minnesota against St. Louis, in what could be the most physical matchup of the first round, and that's saying something. Sin kind of referenced it already. The expectation is that these two teams are going to beat the living hell out of one another. For the Minnesota Wild, coming off of the best season in franchise history, with probably the best player in franchise history already, just 2 seasons in with Kirill Kaprizov, who again had 108 points in 81 games. You had Matt Zuccarello over a point per game. Kevin Fiala was over a point per game. The concerns with Minnesota, though, for me, are the fact that, he had 44 points in 76 games. Do you know who their second-line center is in Minnesota?
Victor Rask.
No, he's now in Seattle.
Oh, that's
as
right.
weird as that is.
I know nothing else of Minnesota besides that Marc-Andre Fleury's there now, and they have Kirill Kaprizov. Who is there? Hold on. Let me think who's even on that team.
I would be shocked if either of you got this.
2C Minnesota.
Is it a rookie?
No, 29 years old.
Sure is not a rookie.
Formerly of the Nashville Predators, and the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's his first season in Minnesota. Again, 44 points in 76 games, his best season to date. His previous high, well, let's see, back in 2018-19, he had 4 points in 55 games with Nashville.
What the fuck?
We will go with Frederick Gaudreau as their 2C. He's their 2C.
Oh, fuck.
3C, Joel Eriksson-Ek, who had 49 points in 77 games, and then fourth-line center for the Helvets, Tyson Jost.
Oh, yeah, Colorado got rid of Jost.
Yeah, so, it makes me wonder, it makes me question a little bit, potentially, secondary scoring, but they did have 6 forwards, I do believe. Yeah, 6 forwards who hit at least 23 goals or more. So at the same time...
Those are strong then, huh?
Yeah, so it's Kaprizov, Hartman, Zuccarello. Yeah, Ryan Hartman, 65 points in 82 games, they're 1C. Fiala, Gaudreau, Matt Boldy, who had 39 points in 47 games. He might have won the Calder if he played the full season. Greenway, Eriksson-Ek, and Marcus Foligno. Marcus Foligno, 23 goals, 42 points. And then Nick Delorier, Tyson Jost, Brandon Duhaime on the fourth line.
Yeah, here's the thing, though. What does St. Louis have?
And we'll compare that directly. So the St. Louis Blues...
I'm seeing a shit ton of toughness around that Minnesota lineup, and one line that can outskill anyone that St. Louis has, to my knowledge.
So the Blues had an NHL high 9 20-goal scorers on the season, which is insanity.
That is actually insane.
Top line, Saad, O'Reilly, Perron. None of who finished with over 60 points on the year, though, despite all hitting at least 20 goals. Very weird.
You're going to see that line out there against Kaprizov so often, though. O'Reilly and Saad. Especially O'Reilly.
Yeah. Second line is Bushnevich, Robert Thomas, and Tarasenko. Lowest point total was Bushnevich with 76. So that's their big skill, high point line. And then Barbashev, Shen, and Kyrou. 24 goals, 26 goals, 27 goals.
Ooh.
Jeez.
For your third line, man. And then fourth line, I think due to injury right now, I know Mackenzie McEachern's been out, but their fourth line right now on Cap Friendly is rookie Alexei Toropchenko, 2 points in 28 games, Tyler Bozak, and Australian legend Nathan Walker. But that top 9 is disgusting.
That is a great top 9. The way Minnesota's built is a way I expect a St. Louis team to succeed in the playoffs. Like, you have a good line, but then you have all this grit down in your middle six, and I think the way St. Louis plays, they still got Berube as coach. I don't think they're going to be fazed by what Minnesota's going to throw at them. How about the defense? We didn't really compare that.
All right, so the defense for the Minnesota Wild, again, according to Cap Friendly at the time of recording this, top pair, Jacob Middleton, alongside Jared Spurgeon, Jonas Brodin. It's Spurgeon.
Oh, good boy, Jared Spurgeon.
Plays baseball.
Oh, God, that channel was amazing.
You got it in.
God. Second pair is Jonas Brodin, Matt Dumba, and third pair currently listed as John Merrill and Dmitry Kulikov. Compared to St. Louis, Letty Parayko, Krug, Falk, Mikkola, and Bortuzzo. I kind of feel like it cancels out a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I mean, you had Krug and Falk both over 40 points. Like, in terms of the point production, in terms of the physicality that they can bring, I kind of feel like that cancels out. If it's a win for one side, it's a narrow margin. And then goaltending. Confirmed starter game 1 for Minnesota, Marc-Andre Fleury. .908 save percentage in 56 games, of course, severely dampered by his time in Chicago. Game 1 starter for the St. Louis Blues, Ville Husso. Binnington had a .901 save percentage in 37 games. Husso had a .919 in 40. Ville Husso has stolen the starting job, making me eat crow. He used to be my go-to example of a goalie that EA massively overrated, and now he's finally lived up to that potential. I do not know who wins this series, but I imagine it goes 7. If this goes 5 or less, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, it has to be 6 or 7, and here's the thing for me. I'm going to switch my prediction, but I was initially thinking Minnesota may come out on top, but I think it's going to happen here is they're going to get off to a really good start, but the Blues are going to... I don't know. I feel like the Blues are going to wear them down. Because
it's that experience for the Blues that is kind of the X factor for me too.
Yeah, like once they figure out that top line, like honestly, Minnesota may go 2-0 at home, but once St. Louis figures out what the fuck that top line's gonna do, and once St. Louis starts, to throw dirty hits and get away with them because it's the playoffs, I don't know if Minnesota's gonna be a hang tough. Like Fleury still got it. And that's the kind of my X factor. Like Fleury could absolutely steal them games, but when I think of a tight game, St. Louis probably has the advantage in that still. Like there's still that kind of air about them of they're a tight checking team. They have skill when they need it, and they win those close games.
Endo Mills, your thoughts? Minnesota and St. Louis.
Not really sure, honestly. Like, I do think it's going to be... These teams are kind of even matched. Like we said, they're going to beat the crap out of each other. And I think the one who's... Like, whoever is going to win this matchup is going to be basically ruined for the second round. Because I feel like there's going to be a lot of undiagnosed injuries in that lineup completely. I'm thinking of giving it to Minnesota. Just because I want to see Marc-Andre get past the first round after what he's been through with Vegas and having to deal with Chicago and their
I don't know how to view this. I really don't. I view this as perhaps there's some matchups in the East where it's like, okay, that's a toss-up. This is the big-time toss-up in the Western Conference.
Yeah, it is.
I could see this going either way. I still don't like either team's chances in round 2, presumably against a fresh Colorado, unless the Avs drop the ball or Nashville puts up a really good fight. Both can be true at the same time. How do we... Endo Mills, your official view, your official pick, St. Louis or Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Sin.
St. Louis.
I'm gonna be spiteful for 2019 and say Minnesota.
Yeah, I assumed you would. I hate saying St. Louis, but I've just been the victim of them, and I just feel like what Minnesota brings to they don't have the depth. One guy on that top line goes down with injury, you're fucked. You're a center. What happened? Like, their center depth is awful. Are you fucking kidding me? Who's their 1C? Hartman,
Goodrow, Eriksson Ek, Tyson Jost.
Fucking Ryan Hartman is your 1C.
And the next man up at center is probably Nick Bjugstad.
Yeah, it's not 2010.
I don't feel right saying St. Louis won't win this, though. I don't feel right about Minnesota either. I think it's very evident how conflicted
it's tough.
we are for this. That's a really tough series to predict.
Marc-Andre
For the hell of it, I'll
needs
see.
to play good. I know we're going to really see if he was, see a product. I don't think he was a product of Vegas, man. That man is unreal. How's he going to work in the product of Minnesota, which is presumably slightly tighter defensively? At least
the real
system-wise?
question is, though, if Minnesota makes it out of the first round, does Marc-Andre Fleury win the Masterton? He recovered from a sword wound to win a playoff round.
It's like, where's this going? Where the fuck is this going?
Take a bow, Tougie. That was a good one.
Yeah, Pete DeBoer ran out of swords, so he started using buses. he threw Laner under it.
Our next matchup, the Calgary Flames and the Dallas Stars. Another interesting one. Calgary all season long. We talk about, okay, what are they going to do heading into it? And then Daryl Sutter and his band of merry men turn out to have the best season the Flames have seen in God knows how long. Both Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk over 100 points. Their line mate on the top line, Elias Lindholm, was a point per game at 82 and 82. All three members of that top line scored at least 40 goals.
Yep.
Insanity. Second line.
Yeah.
Mangiapane, Backlund, Toffoli. Not too bad. Backlund as your 2C. But Toffoli was a pretty good pickup. Third line is Dubé, Yarncrook, Blake Coleman. I like that a lot, too.
Yeah, that's a great third line.
Yeah.
And then Lucic, Lewis, and Brett Ritchie on the fourth line to punch some faces.
This team is going to raffle stomp Dallas. I'm sorry. I want Pavs to do good. I would be shocked if Dallas wins a game. Look at how they fucking finished the season. Yeah, okay, they did the thing against Vegas, too. But then, look what only by blowing a 3-goal lead to Arizona. First of all, in this series, I doubt they get a 3-goal lead at any point. I'd be shocked if they're not playing catch-up most of the time. And again, this is a Daryl Sutter coach team. You think Dallas, was magic that time? They made it all the way to the Cup Finals and unfortunately lost because they had this incredible system and got a hot goalie. Think of the kind of system that Daryl Sutter runs. Now add in all the skill, and now we no longer have to question, will that work? It worked across the entire regular season, and in the playoffs here, man. I honestly, it's Calgary in 4 or 5, and it needs it should be at least. I don't know. I just don't. Dallas is a one-line team, and that line is not very good by comparatively to everyone else.
Compared to Calgary, they do outperform Dallas's top line. Dallas's top line, Robertson, 79 points in 74 games with 41 goals. Love him. Rupe Hintz, 72 points in 80 games with 37 goals. And the ageless wonder, Joe Pavelski, career-high 81 points in 82 games.
But
it is a fantastic line. But as I said, every single member of Calgary's top line scored 40 goals.
Yeah.
Just on another level, at least heading into the playoffs. The rest of Dallas's forward lines, Ben, Sagan, Gurionov. Any guesses on how many points Ben and Sagan put up this year?
55.
Under for both of them.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Jamie Benn, 46 points in 82 games.
Woof.
Sagan with 49 and 81.
Woof. How is that possible?
Both of them making at least $9.5 million a season.
Well, also,
by the way.
Rick Bowness is a horrible coach, clearly, because that should not happen.
Yeah, that's another factor. As magical of a run as they did go on, has he kind of gone past his expiration date? Denis Guryanov's the third member of that second line. He had 31 points in 73 games. Their third line, franchise channel legend for me, Joel Kiviranta, 7 points in 56 games with 1 goal. Radek Faksa, 19 points in 77 games, and Luke Glendening, 16 points in 82. And a fourth line of Michael Raffl, 16 points, Vlad Nemesnikov, 30 points, and Alex Radulov, 22 points with 4 goals in 71 games.
Your fourth line is outperforming your third line.
Correct.
Radulov. I honestly, that's the thing with Dallas is that you almost forgot Ben, Sagan, and Radulov existed. And that's why, they could be X factors, but also, why aren't they performing in this system? Why aren't they performing on this team? They're making so much money.
Let's see. Between the 3 of them, you have Jamie Benn at $9.5 million.
Yep.
Sagan is at 9.85, and Radulov on the fourth line is at 6.25 or $25.6 million. $25.6 million for a combined 117 points. Reminder, Johnny Gaudreau had 115 on his own.
Yeah, and I'm $7 million. Or whatever the fuck he's making. Pretty sure it's 7.
Cap whale!
The gap
Yeah.
between these offenses on paper is astronomical.
Yeah. And let's talk about the defenses, because Calgary ain't too bad.
Calgary's defense. Top pair, Noah Hannafin and Rasmus Anderson, 48 points and 50 points respectively. Second pair, Sheelington and Tanev, both at about 30 points. And a third pair of Nikita Zadorov and Eric Branson, average height of 6'5.5". 22 points for Zadorov, 17 for Goodbranson, and I don't believe they've been that bad defensively.
Probably not.
Because they're playing in a system that suits their style.
Yeah, I was going to say, Sutter is not going to be, he's not going to pull a 2015 Chicago. Those guys are getting out there plenty. he's not Chemo Timoning either one of those guys, man.
The Stars' defense, Suter and Heiskanen. Now, I love Miro Heiskanen. I still think Ryan Suter's great, too. They were both in the 30-point range.
That's shocking for Heiskanen. I really have expected him to really start to take off. But again, it's like, what's up with this
Who's
Dallas
scoring
team?
for him up front to
Yeah.
rack up those assists?
Exactly, yeah. And also, yeah, it's the system. It's, yeah, product of a system. He's a great two-way player. Heiskanen, I still think, is one of the better two-way defensemen. But he's just not getting a chance to shine that offensive side of it.
Here's what really speaks to me. Second pair is John Klingberg, Esa Lindell. 25 points for Lindell, 47 points for Klingberg, led all defensemen in points for the Stars. Lindell is a team best +4 for that defensive setup.
Whew.
His pairing, Klingberg, is a -28.
Oh.
How the fuck does that even work?
You see the play coming through, and then you hop onto the bench immediately when you see the puck swinging that
He's
end.
doing the Bia Pro thing. That's what I do.
Yeah,
Like,
the
shit,
Bia Pro
on man
thing.
the other way. Get off. Get off.
Oh, fuck it. I do that. I do that shit in beer league.
I don't
My
want.
teammates hate me for that.
I don't want bad line defense.
Their third pair is currently listed as 20-year-old Thomas Harley Thomas, 4 points in 34 games, and former Ducks legend Yanni Hakanpää, who had 12 points in 80 games
So-
as a defensive.
They're likely to shorten
With,
the bench at some point.
Yeah, I mean, they have Andre Sekera and Joel Hanley as other defensive options.
And the goaltending who's the oh yeah, it's Ottinger.
It's Ottinger. Yeah, he had a 9.14 in 48 games. It's Wedgwood behind him because Holtby is hurt. The other side is Jacob Markstrom, obviously, with a 9.22. Calgary is better on paper.
Yeah, they should
everywhere.
stomp their fucking yard on paper. Like this should not
It should.
be close.
They're in Colorado territory. It
Yeah.
should be done within 5 at the latest.
Yeah, they're absolutely. And I would say I'm still gonna stick with it. I'll be shocked if Dallas wins a game. I love Pavs. I fucking love the guy. This team ain't it. They got to get a new coach.
Completely agree. It's the magic of the playoffs. Like, hey, I'm not sitting here saying there's no chance, 0% that Nashville could beat Colorado. They could.
Yeah.
Dallas could beat Calgary. It's not a bet you take unless you have fucking free money to burn. You put a $5 to win $250. Go ahead. But let's be honest. If your life depended on it, you're not betting on the Dallas Stars in this. And that's kind of how we're viewing it. I go Calgary in 5. Endo?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't see. I like these next matchups that we're going to be talking about. These seem one-sided as fuck. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. These seem very one-sided, and I think it's definitely going to be Calgary going through this one.
Yeah, I'm going to say
4,
Calgary
if
4.
not 5. Yeah, 4 if not 5. It's going to be a very short series.
I'm saying 4, and I will be disappointed if a Daryl Sutter-led Calgary team with the amount of skill that they have does not sweep a team like Dallas, who's looked so lackluster, who blew a 3-goal fucking lead to Arizona at a time when they could have clinched. They could have knocked Vegas the fuck out. They took their foot off the gas. You can't do that. You can't do it. Kids, you don't do that.
Our final Western Conference matchup, the Edmonton Oilers and the Los Angeles Kings. Now, we all know the kind of narrative that we're looking for here. It's for the Oilers to stop blowing it all the time. And they have been better under Jay Woodcroft. Imagine that. You get a head coach who isn't completely cooked, and they don't hold back your team. Imagine that. The Oilers, top line, Vander Kane, Connor McDavid, Jesse Puljujarvi. Vander Kane with 39 points in 43 games as an Oiler. It was never a question as to whether or not he was talented on the ice. It's everything off the ice with that guy. McDavid, of course, led the NHL in points with 123. Puljujarvi only 36 points in 65 games, but he really is kind of that defensive specialist that allows McDavid and Evander Kane now to just go.
And he play drives. He really does play drive. If you look at his analytics, he's a really good play driver, and it's very odd that Edmonton media is like shitting all over the guy.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
But
I mean, I guess because
the points matter, you know?
Well, maybe if they watched the games, like they tell everyone else.
use
to.
your eyes.
Use your
Eye
eyes,
test.
You dumb fucks. Stop looking at the
use
box
the eye
score.
test. Use what
Their
God
second
gave you, those 2 beautiful eyes.
Analytics, I only need the eyes that God gave me. Thanks, Wayne. You see, because they're in Edmonton. Their second line, Zach Hyman, Leon Draisaitl. I guess that got Endo.
He's drinking, so I mean, it doesn't take much.
Fair enough. Zach
I had
Hyman,
like
Leon
5 steps.
Draisaitl, Kyler Yamamoto for their second line. Again, 110 points for Draisaitl. Hyman had 54. Yamamoto with 41. But kind of not quite the same thing that Puljujarvi does, but But then their depth, I'm not entirely sold. Warren Fogle with 26 points. Nugent Hopkins had 50 and 63, because Nuge is still really good and really underrated. Yep. And then Derek Ryan with 22 points and 75. And then a fourth line of Derek Brassard, Ryan McLeod, and Zach Cassian, who would have been all of them in the 20 to 30 point range. It's not awful, but you also compare their depth to a team like St. Louis, and it's like, man, St. Louis has better depth than Edmonton.
Yep.
At the same time, they're going up against the Kings offense that looks like this. Andreas Athanasiou, 17 points in 28 games, with 67 points from Kopitar and 54 points with 35 goals from Crash Andrews' favorite, Adrian Kempe. I mean, you give it to the Oilers on top line.
Mm-hmm. Obviously.
Very least. Second line, Trevor Moore, Leafs legend, 48 points this year. Philip Danault, 51 points, 27 goals, and 49 points in 66 games from Victor Arvidsson. Not a bad second line. They don't have an X-Factor player like Leon Draisaitl there, obviously, though. Third line, Iafallo, Lizotte, and Dustin Brown, all around the 30-point mark, 25 to 30-point mark. Iafallo was close to 40. And then the fourth line of Grundstrom, Quentin Byfield, and Arthur Kaliev, all, again, somewhere, all below 30 points is a good way to phrase that. You got to give it to the Oilers just for the high-end talent. Like, the lineup is probably close.
How about defense?
Towards the bottom 6.
Oh, we're just okay. I see.
Yeah, we'll talk defense here in a minute too.
I thought
but
you meant like given the series already.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Well, we'll see how the defense pairs up. But just in terms of forwards, it's probably pretty close. But you got to give it to Edmonton just for that.
Oh yeah,
elite high-end talent that they have.
Yeah, they have the advantage. It's McDavid.
That's their identity. The Oilers' defense. Darnell Nurse is listed as a game-time decision for Game 1. He is typically on their top pairing with Cody Ceci.
Yep.
Both around 30 to 35 points. Duncan Keith with Evan Bouchard, 22 years old, quietly put up 43 points this year. And then a third pair of Brett Kulak and Tyson Barrie, who had over 40 points again this season. And here's the difference. The Kings' defense. Top pair, Mikey Anderson and Matt Roy. A combined 29 points. Alex Edler and Leafs legend Sean Durzi. Durzi did quietly put up 27 points in 64 games. And then Oli Mata with 21-year-old Jordan Spence. And of course the goaltenders, Jonathan Quick with a .910 save percentage, Mike Smith with a .915 in just 28 games compared to the .903 of Koskinen. I don't necessarily have faith in an Oilers defense that features Cody Ceci, Duncan Keith, and Tyson Barrie, even if Ceci has been better since he's arrived in Edmonton. But without Drew Doughty, without Sean Walker, that Kings defense, it's just not doing it for me.
Right.
Again, I think we have another matchup here. If Edmonton lets this get to 6 games or beyond, it's a complete failure on their part. This should end in 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
Endo, any thoughts?
Any prayers?
Okay, I have a thought. This is going to 7. And LA wins.
Ooh.
Oh.
Spicy as hell.
Blow up
I'm
the
sorry.
system.
Okay.
Here's why. It's the playoffs. They're going to be hooking and dragging all over McDavid, and the refs ain't going to call shit.
You got a point there.
You try to get that elite Edmonton power play out there, you're going to see that maybe 2 times a game, maybe 3 if you're lucky. Here's what I compare it to. You think back to 2015 when the Sharks played Edmonton. And Edmonton was this young upstart team who supposedly had trash defense and trash depth. Yet their depth stepped up and their defense stepped up, and they beat the Sharks. And they actually went. I think they went almost 7 against the Ducks in the next round. I think LA is going to do this in 7, and I don't know why. It's a gut feeling. I want to see Connor McDavid in that second round. I want to see him getting back. It's just my only X factor. Mike Smith. How's he going to hold up? Is he going to do Mike Smith things and carry that terrible defense? If so, then I think you guys are going to be right. But I'm going to stick with my gut and say Kings in 7. Which is I know it's weird, but it's
the thing is though, man, you bring about a very good point that is not just relevant to this series. You could question if you want potentially some of Calgary's depth. How much can a Blake Coleman, Dylan Dubé, and Calle Yarncroke line step up if Dallas is able to get away with doing what you mentioned to McDavid to the likes of Calgary's top line? Same thing for Nashville and Colorado. I think you really do have to look at the depth. I'm still going with Edmonton.
You should. That's a smart play. I'm going with my weird gut decision.
I don't think you're totally off base. I don't think you are. We'll move over to the Eastern Conference side of the bracket. We'll start off the Florida Panthers and the Washington Capitals. Do we have any thoughts before I talk about these teams in terms of how they're constructed?
All I know is Jumbo's on Florida, and I want him to go all the way. That's my main thought. But here's the thing: Capitals as a wild card too kind of shocks me. The East is so stacked. Like all these matchups are going to just be closer. Just in general. So when I think of the Caps, anyway, let's go over those lineups because I want to know what the Caps have. I kind of have a good idea of how stacked Florida is. It's kind of how stacked I get in my franchise modes. But let's see. And then I get bounced first round because Sim.
There you go. Florida Panthers, Carter Verhaeghe, Alex Barkov, and Anthony Duclair as a top line. Barkov, 88 points in 67 games. Both Verhaeghe and Duclair in the 50s. 115 points from Jonathan Huberdeau with Sam Bennett and Claude Giroux on the Florida Panthers. Of course, Bennett around the 50-point mark, Giroux in the mid-60s. Mason Marchment, Leafs legend, 47 points in 54 games. Outrageous. Alongside rookie Anton Lundell, 44 points in 65 games. Talk about getting no respect this season. And Sam Reinhart had 82 points in 78 games. He's on the frickin' third line. Fourth line, the grit line, Lomberg, Luosterainen, and Patrick Hornqvist. Thornton not factored in as an everyday player at the moment.
Don't care.
The forwards for the Caps. Ovechkin, who may or may not have a shoulder or collarbone injury after that incident in the past week.
Yeah.
With Evgeny Kuznetsov and Connor Sherry. Ovi had 90 points, Kuznetsov on 78 and 79, and Sherry had 43? 71 games? Second line, Marcus Johansson, Nick Backstrom, Tom Wilson. Wilson led that line with 52 points in 78 games. Third line of Anthony Mantha, 23 points in 37 games. Again, you notice kind of the injuries and how roughed up they've been this season. Lars Eller and TJ Oshie, only 44 games played for Oshie, but 25 points. And then Johan Larsson, who was acquired at the deadline from the Coyotes, 21 points in 43 games. Nick Dowd and Garnet Hathaway. There's no denying there's skill in this Washington lineup. There's toughness. There's good defensive options in this forward core alone for Washington. But does Florida do it better?
Yeah, the way this matchup kind of goes, Florida plays a really wide open style. That's where people's biggest questions about Florida are coming in. They play this very almost rush centric style, and it's very wide open, but they have the skill to pull it off and oftentimes speed to kind of get back. Capitals, can they capitalize on that? Can they slow that down? Maybe. Here's the thing, though. Their big grit piece is not going to get away with. Tom Wilson is just on everyone's shit list. The first thing he does something questionable, he's probably going to get suspended for a game. So, that's not a big X factor for Caps. But if he takes a big, star out and injures them, that becomes a bigger X factor. So I don't know. I feel like Florida should win, but I think this is going to go to 6 no matter what. I mean, depends on how severe that Ovi injury is. But I think, I'd say Florida in 6, and I haven't even heard the defense yet. But Ekblad's going to be out, isn't he?
That's the X factor, perhaps, for the Caps. Ekblad is listed on their lineup, but, and actually, let me get the official word, because I just saw UC Saros confirmed out for the first 2 games, at least, for Nashville. The word with Aaron Ekblad is that he is likely good to go, but he is coming off of an injury. And that's the big issue. He's missed a good amount of time now.
I worry about Wilson coming in on him on the forecheck, man, and because he's had concussion issues.
He'll be alongside Mackenzie Weegar, which is a fantastic top pairing. Forsling and Radko Gudas, which is also pretty solid, and then Ben Sherratt and Brandon Montour. Montour quietly had 37 points this year. Washington's defense, Martin Ferravari, who is 22 years old, alongside John Carlson. Another quiet season, 71 points in 78 games. Not getting the attention he deserves still as an offensive defenseman.
I don't get no respect.
Dmitry Orlov, Nick Jensen, Trevor Van Riemsdyk, and Justin Schultz. I think the defense it's in the favor of Florida so long as Ekblad's 100%. And that's a big question mark right now.
Yeah.
And then in goal, question mark of his own, Sergei Bobrovsky, what a .913 save percentage this season for Florida. Not to mention a .908 for Spencer Knight behind him. Against Vitek Vanacek, presumably the starter, who only had a .908 save percentage.
Where's Samsonov
for the Caps? Samsonov had an .896. Oof. He's listed as the backup on Cap Friendly.
Wow, he didn't Seattle take him and then trade him back, or was that Vanacek?
Vanacek. Okay. That was Vanacek, and I guess it's a good thing the Caps did that because holy shit.
Yeah, dude, considering their wild card too, that could have been they could have missed without Vanacek, man.
Yeah, if the East wasn't as strong as it was at the top, and then the haves and the have-nots, then yeah.
Honestly, the goaltenders for both of these sides are very questionable. I mean, not that Bobrovsky's not good, but I mean, he's also ain't living up. I think that air of that $10 million contract is just completely just given such a negative sort of cloud around him, or just a cloud in general surrounding him, where it's like, yeah, 9-13, not bad. How's he going to do in the playoffs? He's been so inconsistent. And Spencer Knight is young. Do you throw him in?
Yeah. I view this as, if you were to tell me Washington's winning this series, I would believe you. I look at how that team's constructed. People have been calling for their downfall, yet they still hang around. I look at that forward core and I'm like, man, that could do it. I don't know if I view Florida as the most vulnerable division winner, but they are certainly, they're more vulnerable to me in round one than Colorado and Calgary.
Absolutely.
I don't know if Carolina. We'll talk about that. Florida has this is their series to prove they're legit. You end this before, you end this by game 5, then okay, the hype is real. But at the same time, until then, I have that bit of doubt in my mind, and I think Washington could win it. I'm going with Florida, honestly, in 6 or 7, and I hope to be proven wrong in terms of how quickly they win the series, and God forbid they lose.
Yeah.
Endo, Florida and Washington. Who do you think takes it?
I think Florida's going to take it. I think this is going to be their chance to prove that they actually deserve to, be there with the record-setting season that they've had. I just think it's definitely their time to step up and be the bigger team in Florida. I think they're going to go up and go through it. And I think there's going to be a surprise coming for us in the next round with the other team we're going to talk about.
Yeah, you know what? I, when we get to the next round, I'm going to have to talk about these 2 rounds in kind of in conjunction, because there's a scenario where that is going to be very, very interesting. That
Your official choice, though, Florida, Washington.
Mine?
Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, you already said yours, Endo. Yeah, I'm going. Okay. I still say Florida in 6. I don't know. Like, they're just, and some, personal bias aside, that's such a stacked goddamn lineup, man. Like, can Washington survive the wave after wave after wave that's going to be bearing down on them of offensive pressure? Has Vanacek faced a team that's going to bring that to him? Can Washington slow it down? I don't think so. Not consistently enough. So, yeah, I definitely say Florida in 6. But it's Washington. They're going to win some games. It's the East. It's a meat grinder. I'd be surprised if any series doesn't go to 6 in this first round for the East. Like, really. Like, it's insane.
The second matchup in the Eastern Conference. 2 teams that finished, in the top 10? I think 4 and 8 in the league overall. 4 and 9, something like that. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Tampa Bay Lightning. What a reward it is for Toronto to finish 4th in the league. They have the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champions.
What a gift.
Toronto's lineup, on-cap friendly, as of the time of recording. Kerfoot, Matthews, and Marner. We obviously don't have to hype up Matthews and Marner. They're fucking phenomenal. Mikheyev, Tavares, and Ondrej Kase. Due to draw in. Mikheyev had 32 points in 53 games, so not bad. Kase 27 in 50. Obviously injury troubles for both of them. And then John Tavares had 76 and 79. Third line, 35 points from Pierre Engvall, 26 from David Kampf, 80 points with 34 goals from William Nylander. And the fourth line, Kyle Clifford, Colin Blackwell, and Wayne Simmons. Let's scratch Jason Spezza line, because we're going to need toughness and grit.
Yeah.
And, of course, Michael Bunting is currently out hurt. Endo, how do you feel about that as a Leafs fan? Jason Spezza scratched for Game 1 in favor of Kyle Clifford because grit.
I think the way they're looking at it is, I think they send a message, and send a message like aggressively. From the games that I've seen them play, I think I was able to watch the Arizona game with Chalgren's first NHL game. I was able to watch them play the Devils, like in person. And that was when they had the yellow Drew jerseys, the Versable, whatever the fuck. When I was able to watch the team play without Blackwell and Giordano. And Giro, those two players themselves bring an extra level of grit and aggressiveness to that team. I see why they put Colin Blackwell in and they kept that Clifford and Simmons line, where their job is literally just to beat the crap out of Tampa Bay. That's all their job to do. Because when Wayne Simmons is out there, he looks kind of out of place when he skates. That's something that I've noticed and that Paulina's noticed as well. We both went to the game. And I think just getting there to just be tough. I mean, then again, you look at the stats. Like, Simmons only has 16 points in 72 games. 20 points for Blackwell in 58. And then Clifford's got 4 and 25. You're not expecting this team to go out there and score goals. You're not expecting that line to go score goals. You're expecting them to hunker down, play as defensive as you can, and hit people. That's literally their job. If they can do that, then I'll be fine with Jason Spezza not playing in the game 1. We'll see what happens game 2. If they lose game 2, they're gonna have to change it up. Because once you go down one game in the series, especially Tampa Bay, back-to-back champions, you're gonna want to change something up a little bit. Hope we can get Bunting back in to go back on the first line. But right now, this is what we got.
Tampa's offense. Palat, Stamkos, Kucherov. Kucherov had 69 points in 47 games.
Nice.
Hagel, Sorelli, Point. Killorn, Colton, Nick Paul. Maroon, Belmar, Perry.
Belmar.
Advantage Tampa.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Up and down the lineup, I have way more confidence in their overall depth. I'm sorry, but you're trusting right now the likes of Alex Kerfoot, Ilya Mikheyev, and Andre Kasha in your top 6. When Tampa has, again, Palat, Stamkos, Kucherov, Point. I got to give the advantage to Tampa there. And certainly the pressure is on Matthews and especially Mitch Marner to be able to find that offensive scoring touch, because I just can't view Toronto as having the edge on paper in that regard, son.
Yeah. Now, if you add that in there as well, I think this is postseason, but I think if Mitch Marner does not get it started, I think there's gonna be obviously more fingers pointing towards him, and I think there might be a trade.
The fact you're even having to bring this up
shows
a lot of the mindset for a lot of Leafs fans.
Honestly,
heading into this,
they're already
waiting
down there. They're waiting down there at the arena right now with pitchforks looking for Marner's head. It's been a talking point for a while that Marner does not show up in the playoffs. But last year he also had the highest shots on net in the whole entire team. So it's just him not finishing. That's what it's been. He's been putting it on. He's putting effort in there, but just getting the puck in the net postseason, hasn't found it yet.
Sin, I'll actually throw to you first. Your thoughts on the offensive comparison?
I think it's a bit closer than you maybe are giving the Leafs credit for.
I think it's close,
okay.
But I can't give the Leafs the nod.
No, yeah, you can't. I don't think you can give them the nod, but I think it's much closer. This isn't the same Tampa depth as we saw the last 2 years. They went all in twice. They succeeded twice. They're a bit thinner. That being said, their 3 seed, probably for the majority of the reason, is they're missing Kucherov for some time. It's a tough one, but yeah, again, Toronto's still there. Hey, okay, cool. You got all this skill. What are you going to do with it? Tampa's already shown us they'll do what they need to do. They're going to have guys down that lineup probably step up. Will Toronto? They're going to have to show us.
The defense for the Leafs: Morgan Riley, Ilya Lyubushkin, Jake Muzzin, and TJ Brody, Giordano, and Liljegren, with Justin Hall apparently out of the lineup and Rasmus Sandin still hurt. For Tampa, Hedman and Ruda, McDonough and Chernak, Sergachev, and Cal Foote. Oof. Who do you give the edge to in this one in terms of the defense? And is Victor Hedman the one that tips it into Tampa's favor, perhaps just a bit?
Probably a bit, but that's probably more even than their forwards are.
Yeah.
At least on paper, Toronto looks better now. It all depends on their defensive scheme and how their forwards actually help in that regard. So we'll see. But they've still done a lot of lead blowing this year, and
Oh, you telling me?
Yeah. So, and you know, Tampa can come back, and then you have to face fucking Vasilevsky, dude.
And that was going to bring me to the goaltenders. A 914 save percentage in 49 games for Jack Campbell, a 917 for Vasilevsky. But the bottom line is, Vasi has proven that he can get it done in the playoffs. Sin, I will throw to you first because Endo's the main event on this with his team being involved. How do you see this series going between Toronto and Tampa?
Yeah, so it's tough. This is so tough. Honestly, I really think it goes 6 or 7. I honestly want to say it's for sure going 7, but I'd never ever underestimate Toronto's fucking ability to blow shit. It should go to 7. These two teams are so fucking good. They're so good, man, and it's a shame that they have to play each other in the first round. But that's the way shit's set up right now. Here's my thing where I want to tie into the first one. If Toronto somehow make it by this, if Tampa just doesn't have the magic anymore, and Toronto makes it through this, that second round matchup between them as Florida is going to be the most fun fucking playoff hockey you will ever see. Ever see.
No defense needed.
I know. It's going to be exciting as shit. I don't know who wins that because we're not even going to talk about it. If Capitals by some miracle beat Florida and, Toronto beats Tampa, Toronto's guaranteed to make the conference finals at that point. I think they would beat Capitals, but that doesn't matter at this point. Yeah, I think it has to kind of go 7, and I would love to give the edge to Toronto to make it out. I really don't know who to choose though. It's tough. If I got to stick with my gut, I say Tampa Bay beats them because Vasilevsky. If it gets to that game 7, Vasilevsky's shutting you out. So, yeah, I don't know.
The reason why I've talked so much about the teams that are close and is it the X factors that push them over the edge is because I think Tampa probably has more X factors in their lineup, and I think this is going to go 6 or 7, and I can't do it. I am actively rooting for the Toronto Maple Leafs to win this round. Actively. I am picking Tampa.
Yeah, have to.
You have to. You have to. The fun pick is Toronto. I'd like to see it happen one way or another. Tampa, I mean, again, there are some people that think I have something against Tampa because of my opinions on their decision to hold a parade before a vaccine was available 2 years ago. I like the Tampa Bay Lightning a ton. The team is unbelievable. I respect the hell out of the star players on that team. I respect the hell out of the management group that has put this team together and kept this team together and as strong of a shape as they've been since Steve Yzerman left. But I want a new Stanley Cup champion. I don't even care if it's Boston. I just want to see somebody new and preferably somebody that I've never seen win. So, no disrespect to the likes of Washington or St. Louis, but at the same time, I want to see someone who hasn't won in a long time win, or someone as a first-time winner.
You know what I find absurd?
What's that?
Vasilevsky is 27 years old. He's won 2 fucking cups, and he's only 27, dude.
Yeah.
He's a year older than Thatcher Demko?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God.
I think the crazy part about that is Vasilevsky joined the league when he was 18.
Well, he was drafted first round, wasn't he? I remember he came in for relief for Bishop once in the playoffs.
He was a first round pick, 19th overall, 10 years ago this year.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking worth it.
Yeah.
Very rarely I'll say it's worth to take a goalie in the first round, but if you're Marc-Andre Fleury, Andrei Vasilevsky, 100% worth it.
And no Mills, I said you were the main event. I want your honest opinion as a Leafs fan on how you think this is going to go. It's been a pessimistic season for you, and a matchup like this does not really help, I'm sure. How you feeling?
All right, so everyone's been waiting a year, basically, of hockey for me to have my final take because the whole entire year I've been saying, yeah, we're going to make the playoffs, whatever, but what are we going to do at the first round? God has given me, or whatever being, the hockey god has given me the worst opportunity ever. All right, you want to talk your shit? All right, go up against the back-to-back champions. Have fun. Deal with it. Whatever. See ya. Do not pass go and do not click $200. And
Is that 200 Canadian dollars? I'm just trying to figure out if I gotta break out I gotta break out a tenner out of my wallet or what.
it's like 150.
Fucking conversion rates, man. They get you every time. That's why I work with Canadians, so I can save a little bit.
Yeah, I can make a little bit. I can make a little bit more.
Oh God.
It's great. Man, I don't know where this is gonna go. I think it's gonna be like one team in one or one team in the other. Because I don't think it's gonna be. I think Leafs in 7, Tampa Bay in 6. And the reason why I say that is because this fucking team loves to they love playing from behind and catching up. That's the one thing that they love to do. And so give them the perfect opportunity. Take them to Game 7 again, because they fucking love Game 7. How many Game 7s have we had so far the past 5 years? One too many.
My God.
Don't even check the number. Fuck you. Don't check the number. Don't check the number. I know it's the last 5 years is 4. It's 4 of them. It's ridiculous.
Oh my God.
And you know what's great about this? They can't disappoint me on my birthday this year because they play on the 12th and the 14th. They can't disappoint me on my birthday again. That was the worst birthday present ever. When we blew it, get the popcorn, boys. When we fucking blew it against the Bruins, and James Reimer was absolutely shit that one game when Nazem Kadri finally put the puck in the net. Yeah, that's right. He finally did his job. And just absolutely. This is something that's been in my heart for 7 years. Let's say 9 years since that happened? Whatever? Yeah. Okay. We're good. We're cool. Leafs in 7, Lightning in 6. Cut, print, put it on a fucking shirt. There we go.
The Leafs seasons, by the way, obviously 2012-13 Game 7 loss to the Bruins. 2017 6 to the Caps. 2018 7 to the Bruins. 2019 7 to the Bruins. 2020 technically Game 7 to the Blue Jackets. It was a best of 5 and they lost in 5. And then last year Game 7 to the Habs. They've had one series.
The lucky number.
They've had one series in the past decade not go to 7, and it still went 6.
Wow.
Life is pain.
I hope 2 weeks from now we're sitting here talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs in round 2. I genuinely do.
I do.
I won't homer it
so hard
either.
to
I'm
see.
just letting you guys know. If we do it, I'm not going to be like, yeah, we fucking did it. No, I'm going to be like, yeah, we fucking did it about fucking time. Woo, yeah.
You say that now, but I guarantee
You say that now,
I
yeah.
guarantee you when they make it out of that first round, dude. I was like, when the Sharks made it to the Cup, I was like, oh, they
You made it to the
fucking
Cup.
make it all the way there. I know.
That's different.
But here's the
I'm
thing.
going
We
to-
also 10 to 15 years, Endo. 10 to 15 years of what you're going through right now, and is what I went through with the Sharks. Before we made
I
that
will
cup.
say this. You will have that moment of fanboying out like a small child again.
Yeah. Then you'll come back to
And then in record time, oh fuck, but we're going to lose in round 2.
Yeah. We're not making it out of round 2, that's for sure. Are you kidding me? You kidding me? The only way
And
we
it
make it out of round
begins.
2 is if we don't play the Panthers. If we were able to clear both of those teams, if we were able to clear Tampa and Florida, God is dead. If we get through both Florida teams and go to the conference final, this is a simulation. We are living NHL 22.
Our next matchup, the Carolina Hurricanes and the Boston Bruins.
Get fucked, Tougie.
Fucking Boston.
God, I hate that fucking Ken Craft video with a guy going, Bruins! Oh, with a stick. I hate that with a fucking
The dude in
passion.
the street.
You know exactly what I'm
think I've
talking
ever
about.
seen
They
it.
post it every fucking
do.
year.
I do.
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
I hate it. He's tapping his stick like he's on the fucking fourth line. Shut the fuck up.
God, yeah, we'll have to.
I'll have to find it.
Well, I literally found it already. If you search on YouTube, Bruins guy, literally just Bruins guy.
Hold
It's
on.
the top one. I have been asked on 17 different occasions if that's me, by the way.
Bruins guy. It's a short, right?
Oh yeah, it's like 17 seconds. Which is perfect because 2013, baby. Woo!
Yeah.
Look, while Sin laughs his ass off at Bruins guy. There it is.
I fucking hate it. I hate it. He's the biggest fucking homer. He's like, with the hat going. I'm like, who are you hyping up?
Bruins!
Bruins.
You know, boys, I'm thanking you very much for delaying my misery here and my suffering. Let's be honest, the Carolina Hurricanes spanked the Bruins all season long.
Yeah.
Heading into this matchup, the Hurricanes look like this. Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis, which is scary. Aho led the team with 81 points in 79 games, though. It's kind of surprising their offense is that spread out. Domi, Trocheck, Teravainen, pretty good. Niederreiter, Stahl, Fost, Martinuk, Kakaniemi, Martin Necas. It's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
For the Bruins, Marchand, Bergeron, DeBrusk, Hall, Halla, Pasternak, Frederick Coyle, Smith, Foligno, Nosek, Lazar. I feel like this offensive matchup is close. If you wanted to give the edge to one team over the other, sure. Call me a homer. I feel like it's close.
You're a homer. I feel like there's a bit more of
You're
a
a
gap.
fucking homer.
I think there's a bit more of the gap. The thing that does it for me is that Bruins just have more question marks overall.
Let me say, the Bruins have 4 60-point getters. The Hurricanes only have 2. And they're both on the top line.
Yeah, okay. That is fair. All right, that's fair. Okay, you know what? Yeah, that's okay. All right, it is closer.
If it wasn't for Marchand, Bergeron, Pasternak and granted, they're not even a line anymore. But they're still, to me, the X factor in this series are the big three for Boston.
I'll make my overall point after we hear all the lineups then, because my overall point will include all the lineups.
Defensively, for the Hurricanes.
That fucking sigh.
Oh my god.
Slavin and D'Angelo. Brady Shea and Brett Pesce. Brendan Smith and Ian Cole. So, Slavin and D'Angelo. Slavin 42 points, D'Angelo with 51 in only 64 games. Again, never a question of his on-ice talents, just the off-ice stuff.
He's a douche.
Brady
but
Shea.
He's good at his job. Wow.
Brady Shea, 39 points this year. Pesce had 28. And then, Smith and Cole are more defensive options. For the Bruins, Hampus Lindholm and the best defenseman on either side in this series, Charlie McAvoy. Matt Grzelcyk and Brandon Carlo. Derek Forbort and Connor Clifton. Much to my chagrin, and I think it's a gigantic mistake, Mike Riley potentially not starting this series, which I think is a horrible fucking decision, but I'm just an analytic soy boy who needs to grow up. I don't fucking know. I'm trying to beat some people to the punch on that. And then the goaltenders. Right now, I don't know if Freddie Anderson is fully healthy. Cap Friendly does not have him listed as fully healthy. And the update an hour ago from Emily Kaplan, Anderson has a knee sprain with no structural damage. He is practicing. Unlikely he'll be ready for game 2. So, at the very least, they're rolling with Antti Ranta, who had a .912 save percentage in 28 games. And likely, I think it'll be Linus Allmark, who had a .917 in 41 games. Swayman behind him had a .914.
I forgot about the Anderson.
Yeah, and I mean, Freddie Anderson had a .922 save percentage in 52 games this season.
Yeah,
best goaltender in this series if he's healthy.
Exactly. If he's healthy. And yeah, like going back to his Leaf tenure, he was great when he was healthy. When he's playing through injuries and overplayed, he wasn't good.
Yeah, but also Carolina's system is much, much, much better for goaltenders than Moses.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, if he's healthy, if he was healthy to start the series, it's unquestioningly for me that Carolina wins. I still think they win. And the reason being is that the X factors or the questions, here's the question marks I have for Boston. Goaltender. Proven?
No, I mean, Allmark was formerly with the Buffalo
Yeah,
Sabres.
like, he's been
it's his first year in
solid.
Boston.
but
Swayman's 23.
yeah, a lot to live up to. 2C. Haller was good down the stretch. Can he do that against a Carolina Hurricanes team who is incredibly shut down? And yeah,
You know that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like, he was really fucking good after the trade deadline. He really was. But like you said, and like we've said about other players, can you do that in the playoffs? He had 8 points in his last 10 games, 4 in his last 5 to end the season. Really good run. But I can't blame someone for seeing Eric Hall a 2C, even if he's between Taylor Hall and David Pasternak. I can't blame someone for looking at that and just being like, ugh. Like,
Yeah.
it's, we called out Freddie Goodrow, who had a similar point total. We got to look at Eric Hall,
Yeah, and here's another thing I'll say. DeBrusque, the whole requesting trade thing, how behind in the is that for everyone? I hope it is. But when you don't have a close room, that can put a damper on things. That's a very kind of tiny detail that we can only speculate on. But I'll just raise that as a question. And my last X factor is Rod Brindamore coaches the Carolina Hurricanes.
Uh-huh. That's what I thought you were going to bring up when you were talking about defensive systems a few moments ago. If you look at these forward groups, I think reasonably you can pick one side or the other. It's close. It's not slam dunk, this side's better than the other.
I would agree.
Defensively, I think it's also close. If you want to pick Carolina, I can't say you're wrong. Goaltending
have
wise,
6 top 4 guys. Like when I think of Carolina, they essentially almost have 6 guys who could play top 4 minutes. Like really solid. Like Boston has that true top 2, but I don't feel like they have the same amount of depth. But it is good. Like not great, good.
And if Freddie Anderson was healthy, you give goaltending to Carolina on paper, but he's not.
Yeah.
So close. Brindamore versus Cassidy.
Yeah.
Bruins in 7.
Yeah, you got to go for it. I don't hate you for it. I think for sure. I was gonna say initially I was like maybe 5 or 6 for Carolina. This might be the shortest series, and I'm sorry, Tougie, but just the way they kicked your ass all year. But with Anderson being out, I'm definitely more on board with a 6 or 7. I'm still giving the edge to Carolina though.
That is the only reason why I am not an extreme pessimist right now.
Yeah.
Is that Freddie Anderson's not healthy.
He's missing at least 2 games, and Antti Ranta doesn't have the cleanest bill of health either. What happens if he goes down? Holy shit.
If he goes down, it is
Nedeljkovic.
Peter Kochetkov, who is the 22-year-old Russian prospect. 3 games played this year with a .902 save percentage. In the AHL, though, he has a .921 in 15 games. Also played in the KHL this year with a .926 in 23 games. So, really, really good KHL level goalie. Looks to be a solid AHL level goalie, but you're talking about a 22-year-old maybe having to step up if something were to happen to Ranta in the first 2 games, which I'm not rooting for, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, and they said Anderson at least missing 2. So, or saying unlikely he'll be back for game.
Emily Kaplan said unlikely for game 2 for Freddie Anderson.
So, yeah, he'd probably be back by 3 or 4 minimum. Still,
right.
That's a window of opportunity that, unfortunately, they'll be on the road, Boston. But I can't imagine Carolina being the hardest building to play in. I haven't heard anything, but who knows? Who the fuck knows?
We'll see tonight. The game starts, what that atmosphere is like. If Endo, if you wanted to pick Carolina too, I can't blame you. I don't obviously have the utmost confidence in the Boston pick, but even though it could happen, man, if the Bruins were to lose this in 4 or 5, I'd be super disappointed because I think they're better than that. If you lose to them in 6 or 7, sure, but this should be a long series.
Yeah, I agree. The teams are a lot more closer matched than we thought. It's going to come down to basically, I want to say who wants it more, but that's basically what it's going to be. Are Boston going to come back and just power through, or Carolina going to hold off well enough so that way Freddie comes back for at least game 3, because he said he's questionable for game 2. He could be back for game 3, and that's basically what it's going to be. What's going to be for me, and I still think Carolina's going to take it though.
Our final head-to-head first round matchup.
Or Tougie finds 2 new co-hosts.
Yeah.
We'll move on. We'll see. I don't know. We could put feelers out there. I got some people in mind. we got a short list just in
How about
case.
Boston Bruins guy?
My brother? We'll bring him in. Welcome to the Bruins podcast.
Oh.
We have a built-in intro song. It's great.
Yeah.
Our final head-to-head matchup in the opening round, the New York Rangers and the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Closest one.
You know it might be. In talking about the forwards for the Rangers, Chris Kreider, 52 goals. 52. With Mika Zibanejad, point per game at 81 and 81. And deadline pickup Frank Vatrano, apparently slotting in. He's been a really good pickup for them. He's fit in very, very well. Second line, Panarin, Strome, and Andrew Kopp. Kopp's been amazing, too. That's a really, really good second line. When Artemi Panarin can afford to be on your second line, I think that says it all. Mm-hmm. And then it gets interesting for the Rangers, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Third line, Lafreniere, 31 points. Philip Hedl with 22. Capo Caco with 18 and 43 games played. And a fourth line of the $3.6 million man, Barclay Goodrow, who had 33 points. Kevin Rooney, who had 12 and 61. And Ryan Reeves. Compare this to the Penguins' offense of Gensel, Crosby, Rust, Heinen, Malkin, Raquel, McGinn, Carter, Kapanen, Boyle, Bluger, Rodriguez. There is no doubt that the overall depth goes to the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Absolutely. So heavily.
Yeah. It's very even across the board in terms of just firepower and willingness. And I love saying the word grit, but grit.
The average age of the Rangers' third line is 21 years old. And you're throwing them into a playoff situation where they have to be the first line of support behind your big six. As opposed to the Penguins that have Brock McGinn, Jeff Carter, and Kasperi Kapanen in that role.
Yeah.
This is why all season long, Rangers fans, I've said, like, I just can't. Like, I can't have confidence in this team until they win a round.
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't think they do it. I simply don't. Like, I'd be willing to give my prediction now, but let's let's keep going with the
numbers
lineups
here.
Yeah.
Rangers defense, Adam Fox, Ryan Lindgren. Great pairing. Mm-hmm. Lindgren obviously works very well to let Adam Fox do what he does. 22-year-old Keandre Miller with Jacob Trouba. And then Patrick Nemeth alongside 20-year-old Braden Schneider. With Justin Braun, apparently, despite being a deadline pickup, projected as a scratch. Nils Lundqvist as well. Should also note scratches for the Rangers like Dryden Hunt, Julian Gauthier, Tyler Mott's hurt. That doesn't really help.
Those are.
And of course, for the Penguins, the defense, Brian Dumoulin and Chris Letang, Marcus Pettersson, John Marino, Mike Matheson, Chad Ruedel.
Much better.
And I should note for the Penguins too, Jason Zucker is currently not listed in that lineup, but could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, Jesus. And if there were any other examples of like, oh, well, this guy was a depth guy and you missed it, apologies. But obviously, there's a lot of players right now who are trying to get back that might not be 100%. So it's a constantly evolving situation. Yeah. And then the goaltenders. Igor Shesterkin is the biggest X factor of them all for the New York Rangers. .935 save percentage, slam dunk Vezina winner, legitimate Hart candidate this season. Against Tristan Jarry, presumably, because much like Freddie Anderson, heading into the playoffs, not exactly being 100%. It looks like he is going to miss, actually, the start of the playoffs. Potentially game 1 and 2, he could be out for, meaning that Casey DeSmith and his .914 save percentage would be the starter. Is that the opening the Rangers need to get this done, hopefully in quick order?
No. I mean, yes, but they're not gonna. Like, Igor, he could go off, but this Penguins, like, it's still Crosby, Malkin's Penguins, man. It still is a Crosby, Malkin's Penguins team, and the depth of New York is absolute dog shit. You need good depth to go far in the playoffs. You simply do. I don't see it. I don't know. Shesterkin could carry, but how many times would see Lundqvist carry? And that team always came up short because they didn't have enough. This Rangers team doesn't have enough. There's too young in places where they can't afford to be in their depth roles. Like, you can't really rely on those young guys in depth roles to step up in big moments. That's why when you look at the Blackhawks teams during their dynasty, they always had older guys and in those depth roles. All their young guys were in their top, you know? I don't know. I think it could go the distance simply because Shesterkin could absolutely go off and because of the aforementioned reasons, but I'm guessing Pens in 7.
I look at this and, you know, much like the Leafs, I am rooting for the New York Rangers. I want a team that has not won recently to do well. I have nothing against the Penguins. I honestly, I root, if the Bruins can't find success, I root for moments of greatness.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Sidney Crosby winning a 4th cup. Holy hell, man.
Oh my God.
I can't root against that in a sense.
If they get further,
at the same time,
if they get further, then you can start rooting for it, but you're not going to start off rooting for that. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm rooting for the Rangers in this one, but much like the Leafs, I cannot pick them out of the gates. I think I got to go with Pittsburgh, and I hope that the Rangers prove me wrong. I really, really do. Endo,
how many games do you think?
Fuck.
It's so tough to predict that. I hate it. Like, every game can be so close, and it could be a 1-goal game and get swept.
I'd be shocked if it's got to go 6 or 7.
Yeah,
I'd be shocked if it ended in 4 or 5. Absolutely shocked.
Yeah.
Either way. Endo, how do you view it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go New York in 6. Just goaltending is there. They aren't really missing too many assets in terms of players out for injury. You're missing Sammy Blais, but he's only missed barely any games at all, of any. And I think they're just gonna take it. You could have you could have playoff Crosby, but playoff Crosby can't do it on his own. He can make everyone else look great, as he's done his whole entire career. But can he help carry a team like this in the playoffs? And he's done it before, but the guy's 34 now, right?
Yeah. So with that, are we good?
Yeah.
I think we're good for the first round.
Yeah.
As crazy as it is, we would go beyond it, but what's the point in debating a hypothetical series, of course?
Makes no sense. I already did enough of that when I was talking about the situation.
That said, again, it might not be too late by the time this podcast is out. Our bracket challenge, though, is out there and available. A link is on my Twitter. It's also in the comment section of my most recent video on YouTube, which was our 2022 playoff simulation on NHL 22. An interesting winner in that one. You'll have to check that out. So make sure to get involved if you care to. We will be back this Friday with plenty of playoff action to talk about. First few games of each series should be in the books, and we'll see how opinions have changed at that point in time in just a few short days, how quickly expectations can be changed. Endo Mills, your thoughts, your opinions, your things going on right now. What are you up to?
I make videos for you, and I sometimes stream on Twitch. That's what I do. That's what I've been doing. Actually, I have a question for everyone just listening. If you have any weird games that you suggest for me to play, DM me at Endo Mills, or just post on Twitter or whatever. Let me know what games you obscure games you have that you want me to play. Not even just to watch, just like, oh, here's a game I played. And it's kind of cool or whatever. Just give me that, because I'm trying to play other stuff besides playing sports games, because I want to enjoy my life, and sports games not really doing it for me right now. So yeah, DM me at Endo Mills on Twitter, and yeah, that's what I want to do. Play games other than sports,
except for NHL 2K10.
Mm-hmm.
The exception
Fucking elite, dude. I love that game.
Fucking
to the
Colts.
rule.
We got to make merch of that. I don't give a fuck. Cult of 2K.
Beautiful thing. Sin, as always, what do you got going on, buddy, as we wind down this show?
Yeah, I am. I've official release date for my single now. It'll be coming out on May 14th, one day after Endo's birthday.
Yay.
But a full week after my birth. I believe that's a
Yay.
Saturday. Very, very excited to be dropping that. So definitely shoot me a follow on Instagram at Paul Cinders, and you can follow me or follow my. I don't know how Spotify works. Look me up on Spotify, Paul Cinders. And yeah, I got a Twitter that I'm barely on, and I make hockey videos still on YouTube. That's Sin for the Win Productions. So there you go.
There you go. Everybody at Tougie24, as I'm sure you know at this point, again, we will be back this Friday. Enjoy some playoff hockey, and we'll see you later on this week.